this week's episode of So I've Been Told. Today my guest is Nick Gilboe of Envious Disguise. He came over and met up with me at the Vineyard Space the other day. We were hanging out in the basement recording the podcast. Kind of felt like the old days when we would hang out in the meat grinder basement, which is, if you don't know, the house I used to live in. There used to be basement shows there, and there's a lot of talk about that place in this episode because that's where he and I have spent most of the time that we've spent together. Alright, so we might as well just get right to it. Before you hear the interview, you are going to hear Jump by Envious Disguise, and then we'll go right into my conversation with Nick. Enjoy.
So, my first experience with Adam Kramer, it was in your basement at the meat grinder. I knew absolutely nobody. I wasn't even in a band yet. Drake had actually told me to come check out his band. So, he was like, yeah, it's at this place called the meat grinder. I'm like, all right, yeah, cool, send me the address. And I'm expecting it's going to be a bar, a club. And I pull up. And Kyle was with me, and I was like, man, are we at the right place? And then, I see a bunch of people in, like, leather jackets, and, it looked like the right spot. I was like, man, I don't know. I don't know if this is it. And so we kind of just got out and started talking to people out in the driveway, and they're like, yeah, you're at the right place. Come on in. And then after we got into the basement, Colin Bourne was one of the first people to introduce himself to Kyle and myself, and he kind of introduced me to everybody. So that was super cool of Colin, and I'm glad he did that because I love all the Meat Grinder guys. So
Word. So how did you first get into the music scene? Were you involved at all before that? What was your introduction to, even beyond that, before getting involved, what was your introduction to like punk and underground music?
Oh man, that really came from just really myself. I mean, I was kind of brought up on, classic rock like CMF and The Buzz when they play good songs. And then, once I kind of figured out what LimeWire was, it opened up a whole new door into anything that I wanted to hear and all the porn I ever could imagine. It was amazing. But no, I listened to a lot of everything, listened to a lot of rap, hip-hop, punk music, still listen to classic rock music. Country, not really my thing. But, just kind of like exploring and figuring things out. And then, once I started listening to, like punk, pop punk, that kind of stuff, I was like, this really seems like something I kind of want to do because it seems like a good time. So that's kind of, how I introduced myself into what I wanted to listen to.
Cool. Now, obviously the first band I know you were a part of was Envious Disguise. Was there anything before that, or was that
there
your
was.
first? Okay.
Nothing too serious. I was in a band called Jam. It stood for Just Average Musicians. And we weren't even average at that point. But we were just a jam band. We would sit around in my buddy's basement, and we never played the same thing twice, which I always thought was cool. It was something new every time we picked up our instrument. Somebody just started laying something down, and the rest of us would follow. So, I mean, it was a cool experience for what it was. But once Envious came around, I definitely fell in love with the stage rather quickly.
Did Jam record anything, or was that just...
I think we have one track on like a cell phone, but I think that's about it.
Didn't even make it off of the cell phone on the internet.
Nope.
Just on a cell phone. Nice. So, tell me about the formation of Envious.
Envious started. Kyle and I have, we were friends for, from now, it was probably 15 years ago.
Wow.
And Kyle moved, so we finished our high school careers in different places, and then we got back in touch with each other, and he came over to my house, and he had his acoustic guitar, and I had an acoustic bass, so we were just kind of writing some joke songs.
Yeah.
And then we had a couple of our buddies over, and we showed them the joke songs, and they were like, man, I know you guys are trying to be funny, but I mean musically this is pretty good. So from there we kind of wrote some more serious songs, and that is where the Behind the Stash and Glasses EP came from. And then we were like, man, well, we got to get a drummer. And we went to high school with Dom, so we just gave Dom a call, like, hey, man, are you doing anything? He's like, nah, dude, just not really doing anything. I was like, well, you want to drum for this band? And he's like, yeah, dude, absolutely.
Word.
So that's kind of how Envious started, and then it was just a crazy road from there.
Did Behind the Stash and Glasses, so that was before Dom was in the band, or you got him like when you wanted to record?
Yeah, Kyle and I wrote that before we had Dom.
Okay.
So Dom just we didn't have any drum parts.
Mm-hmm.
So all the parts are still Dom's, but the guitars and the lyrics Kyle and I had before Dom had even joined.
Yeah, okay, cool. And where did you guys play your first show?
Our first show was actually at the House of Guitars.
Okay.
Which was cool. We still are. We're all from Irondequoit.
Mm-hmm.
So to play at the House of Guitars was very cool. All
it's
three
cool
of
place,
our
the House of Guitars.
Oh, absolutely. It's always cool for us. We joke around about it all the time. We walk by the House of Guitars every day, and we really don't understand that people from all over the world come to the House of Guitars, and we kind of take it for granted.
Yeah.
But it was cool. All our friends and family came out. A lot of people we went to school with were there, so that was a great show. Our first show was actually supposed to be in the Meat Grinder.
Okay.
Colin booked the show March 10th. I think it was 2012. That was supposed to be our first show, but when we got offered the House of Guitar show, we couldn't turn it down. So
Yeah. No, I thought you guys did play that March 10th show.
we did.
Okay.
We still
so
did
that
play
wasn't
it.
your first show.
It was supposed to be, but
Gotcha.
then we got the House of Guitar show like 2-3 weeks after Colin had booked that show.
Yeah.
So we were like, well, let's just play both.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like the first time Colin had booked a show.
Yeah.
And that was...
That's still one of my favorite shows of all time that I've ever played or gone to. That show is great.
That's one of those shows that John W. he always, when we talk about our favorite shows that happen there, he brings that one up often.
That was a good one.
But yeah, so you were in Envious Disguise for a long time. You were a part of the whole Meat Grinder crew.
Yep.
Spring Break 2012.
Oh man, that
shout out.
Man. Avery, Hardcorn. Hope you're listening. Miss you guys. Spring Break forever.
Yeah, some crazy stuff went down. Do
Sure
you have
did.
any favorite Meat Grinder stories?
Oh man, my favorite Meat Grinder story. Well, I don't know. I've got a bunch of them. The one I'm going to tell that is in my top 3 is Joey Balls. I'm sure you know this is coming. We're sitting out on the porch. The couple beers were flowing. And Joey gets up and starts taking a leak on the neighbor's porch. What was it? Shane? What was his name? Shane.
What's up, Shane?
So Shane...
You're not listening.
Shane comes outside, and Joey, pisser in hand, just looks him square in the eyes. And Shane is like, dude, what are you doing? And Joey's like, I'm sorry, I'm having a really bad day. And Shane, the most savage thing I've ever heard, I don't care how bad your day's going, put your dick away and get back in the fucking house. Oh, my God. Right in the middle of Monroe Ave, Joey just taking a leak right on the guy's porch.
Joey really just didn't care
at
all.
No.
I feel like that kind of was true of a lot of us at that period of time.
Oh, man. Joey, miss you too, buddy.
His new band just played last night at the Bug Jar. I just saw him, and I Can't Stop Wondering. So the crew is
a good one.
Yeah, it wasn't really promoted well. I'll edit that out so Joey doesn't hear it. And whatever, I'm gonna leave it in. Love you, Joey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys did Envious for a couple years. We got to play some fun shows together.
Absolutely.
We got to play with Maker.
Yeah. Play something off the demo.
Joshua Strauss
man.
decided to. He loved the Maker demo.
He did.
And he was just yelling, play something off the demo the whole show.
What is he doing now?
He's somewhere out west.
Come on.
Yeah, he's living out west. I want to get him on the show. What's up, Strauss? I know you've been listening. Let's do this sometime soon.
And play something off the demo when you get him on. Make sure you play something off the demo.
Dude, and then I remember... I know I'm talking as much as you this one, but it's just too fun to reminisce about.
Hey, man, that's fine with me, dude.
But that just staying up till like 2 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was like the one night when I don't think anybody drank either at
No.
the Grinder. We
No.
just were up goofing off, making prank phone
Yeah, we
calls.
pranked Denny's. I remember we pranked Denny's. I vaguely remember something about Boulder Coffee. Yeah, it was like me, you, Ariana, and Strauss.
And Steve Haramis.
Yes,
hung
Steve
out
as
with
well.
us that night. But I just think it was so funny because we all like partied and drank so much. But that one night, like
Just
not
sober.
not a drop of alcohol was drank. We were just like acting like high school kids, doing prank phone calls in the basement.
Oh, man. And that's one of the things I really loved about that place is, a lot of partying went on, but it was a place you could go relax. Like, I remember plenty of days I would just go over there after work because I needed to just relax and unwind around some people that helped me do that.
Mm.
It wasn't party all the time, but when it was fun. But, every day wasn't like that.
Yeah, I think when we look back at it now, it seems like every day was a party, but there were a lot of chill days.
Absolutely. I remember just, in the summer, 11, noon, just hanging out on the porch,
Yeah.
Having a cup of coffee, glass of orange juice, just, relaxing, talking about, stuff in the scene we want to do, talking about how our day's going, It was just an awesome place that I miss very much.
I miss it too. I've moved on and life is different, but I treasure those memories.
Absolutely.
Obviously, that place comes up a lot on the show. I mean,
for sure.
There's, this is episode number 7, and I think it's in one way or another came up in all but I think one episode, because it's mostly been people that went there.
Right.
But so, what happened to Envious Disguise?
Oh man.
You don't have to go into any crazy detail, but you can share whatever you want to share about what happened there.
You pretty much segued what happened in your last statement when you've said, you moved on.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of at a crossroads, and the band was kind of at a crossroads. The band was getting to the point where, do we want to do this full time? Do we want to do the touring? Do we want to take the gamble of, trying to get signed or get financial support, get a manager, something of that nature? And I was at a personal crossroads. Can I handle this lifestyle, or do I want to go get a full-time job, which to me seemed like the safe option?
Mm-hmm.
So I went and I got my full-time job, and we tried to make the band work after I'd gotten that, and I just did not have the proper time that Kyle or Dom needed me to devote to the band anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided to call it quits, and then they started their Finish Last project. I don't really know what happened with that. It just kind of, stopped.
Yeah.
Dom is now with Keaton.
And you played with the Results for a little bit there, so how did that happen, and what was that?
Yeah, playing with the Results was cool. The Results were one of Envious's, best friend bands, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Brian and I hung out almost every day.
Mm-hmm.
So to be able to play with those guys for the time that I did was, it was cool. It was cool to play a different style of music than Envious was.
Mm-hmm.
We played some cool shows. We played with Andrew WK. That was awesome. Played Water Street. And then I still don't know what happened to the Results. I just know we're not playing anymore.
Gotcha. I don't know either. I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, nobody really has. And if you talk to anybody from the band, you'll get like 6 different answers.
Gotcha.
So I know I was working out of town for 5 months.
Wow.
So I was pretty out of the loop with everything anyway. And then when I got home, it was just like, oh yeah, the band's done. Oh, okay. So yeah, that's how the Results went. But loved my time with those guys, and they're still good friends of mine.
Gotcha. Now, what kind of a sidebar? But what are you doing work-wise now?
Work-wise, I work at Flower City Communications.
Okay.
Which is it's a cool job. When I was out of town working, I was testing radio frequencies for Iberdrola. It's a Spanish company that owns RG&E, NYSEG, and Central Maine Power. So they kind of own all of New York's power companies.
Yeah.
So we had to go around and test the radio frequencies for them. And then when I'm not doing that, when I'm working in town, I install two-way radios in like fire trucks and ambulances and school buses. And
cool.
It's a pretty cool job because when you meet new people and they're like, hey, what do you do for work? I get to tell them something they haven't really heard. Oh, I'm a cook. Oh, I'm a plumber. Oh, I'm a carpenter.
Yeah.
I've kind of got like a different kind of trade that you don't really hear about people doing.
Yeah.
So for me, it's kind of cool and do something that not a lot of people really know how to do.
Yeah. So, which brings us now to, I've been hearing some rumors, seeing some vague Facebook posts. I think you might have something to tell the world. So,
all right, here we go. Envious Disguise is back for a one-night stand at the California Brew House, March 25th.
Nice.
And seeing the Grinders not around, I can't see that show being anywhere else but the Brew House.
Word.
Place was home to us for many, many years. We love the staff over there. They're always great to us.
Mm-hmm.
So we picked that spot. It was a no-brainer, and we're really looking forward to it.
Yeah, awesome. So it's just a one-night thing, or is it at the moment a one-night thing that could turn into something more?
I don't know. I don't want to say too much because I don't really know. Like I was get into. Dom's with Keaton, and he's, being very successful with that.
Yeah.
So I don't want to take away from anything he's doing. Would I do Envious over again where I'm at in my life now? Yes. I want to say Kyle would too, but like I said, with Dom and everything he's got going on with Keaton, I don't know if he would have time for it, nor would Kyle or I want to take him from it.
Yeah.
So for right now, we're excited about the one night, and anything after that is definitely an added bonus.
Gotcha. Who else is on the show?
We have no idea yet.
Okay. Weird.
But as soon as I figure it out, I will relay it to you.
Awesome, and I will make sure I repost the information on the So I've Been Told page.
Nice.
And all that. So, some crazy things have happened in your life.
Oh, yeah.
Recently. And I saw that some people from our scene here in Rochester have been really awesome. And so, you want to talk about that and kind of tell everybody what went down?
Yeah, absolutely. 2016 has been a crazy year from day one. Day one of 2016, I got engaged, so that was very exciting.
Congrats.
Thank you. 2 days later, we got on a cruise, and then once we got off the cruise, it wasn't 12 hours later, I was back working out of town, and then I come back to town, and I have a house fire. So 2016 has been exciting, both positively and negatively. More positively, though, which is good. It's keeping my spirits up. But, when I had the house fire, like I said, I was out of town for 5 months. I hadn't played with the results in that time, and even a little bit before that, I wasn't really going out or doing anything, so I haven't really seen a lot of people, close to 8-9 months, and for some people, years I haven't talked to, and everybody was just so supportive, and it really goes to show whether you're currently in a band or in the scene or whatever, it doesn't matter. If you're a part of it, you're a part of it, and that's what really, touched me, was that I haven't been around these people, like I said, in a long time, and they still just, at a moment's notice, were nothing but helpful. So, Rochester, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and there's a GoFundMe page that's still live for a little while. I don't know how much you know about it.
So, yeah. I don't really know too much about it. My fiance's friend made it, which was awesome of her. Caitlin, thank you. So, I guess if it's still up, then it's still good, but I don't really know.
Well, I will check that, and I will also repost that from the page and also put it in the show notes.
Awesome. Thank you.
So I try to list any of the bands that are mentioned and all that in the show notes so people can check it out.
Sweet.
But yeah, I just thought it was really cool to see that the scene, so many familiar names on that list of people that donated were people that we know through playing in bands, and just they rallied around you guys and have helped you out. I just think it was a real testament to the special scene that is here in Rochester.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, man. So I feel like we got to talk more about the grinder.
Absolutely. With pleasure.
So let's tell more stories.
I want to hear your favorite grinder memory, because I'm sure, you were there, probably not much, but you were there more than me, obviously. So I want to hear if there's anything crazy that went on that I don't even know about.
I don't know if there's any stories that haven't already been shared that you don't know about. But, dude, my favorite thing that happened there was that last Endangered Youth show.
Yeah.
That was it was just an incredible night, and just, that's a crazy feeling to music that you wrote with your friends. And, with Steve, I'd known Steve since we were sophomores in high school, so,
wow.
To make a record with my best friend of, a long, long time, and then John and Freaky, love those guys too, and then to play those songs and to a room full of people just
screaming them back at you,
screaming the words, that was a pretty incredible night. But, what were some of your favorite bands that played at the Grinder? I feel weird. I just said, in the last episode I did with someone not from here, and I wanted to take a break because I don't want to talk about the Grinder every episode. But you and I,
this needs to happen.
Most of my memories of you, Sir Gilboe, were in that house.
Absolutely. So. My favorite bands that have played there. the second time I was ever at the Grinder, Dare I Say His Lightning was playing. And I had no idea who they were. I believe they were the last band of the night, maybe. I don't know. Whenever they played, I absolutely loved their set and followed them, from there on out. It was... Don't ask me why I remember all this, but it was the R2D tour with... Oh, man, who was on it? I still have the poster in my room.
The Riot.
The Riot, yes.
What's up, Ryan? Dude, that band I had known... My very first band back in Pennsylvania played a show with an old band of Ryan, the drummer from the Riot.
Oh, wow.
So for as long as I had been in the scene with that guy, we had, I'd known who he was.
That's awesome.
So it was so random that he ended up playing that show.
Yeah. That was a great show altogether.
Yeah. I can't remember. What was the other band they were on tour with?
Lights, Camera...
Lights, Camera, Distraction.
Yes, Distraction, yes.
Yeah. They were really cool too. They're another band I had seen play in Pennsylvania back in the day as well. So.
Oh, wow. I had a similar situation happen. We were visiting my fiance's brother in Pittsburgh, and the Traditional from Buffalo was playing at the Ormsby House that night.
Okay.
And I didn't know who they were before that, but they were like, yeah, we're from Buffalo, New York. And so I immediately ran over to them, and I was like, this is crazy. I'm from Rochester.
Nice.
And then that was another band that I've gone and seen every time they come to town, and they're like, hey, Pittsburgh guy.
They've played in this very
yeah,
building. Yeah.
Yep. So like those guys a lot, too.
Yeah.
Even though they weren't a Grinder band, still like those guys.
Yeah.
Can't leave out Hand Grenade Assholes. Loved seeing them every time at the Grinder.
The names of of the members of that band are top secret information, but yeah, they were certainly interesting.
While I'm name dropping, obviously Endangered Youth played some of my favorite shows there. Really, all the Grinder bands, I really liked because it was like watching your family play.
Mm-hmm.
So I won't go through that whole long extensive list. Dirty Needle and I Can't Stop Wondering. Those guys, awesome. And then that's where I'll stop the list of the family member bands. I'm trying to think of some other bands that weren't, Grinder-related bands. What was that band that Whistler brought in for that barbecue from Florida?
Rational Anthem.
Rational Anthem, yep. Really dug them. That show was a lot of fun, too.
That was a wild day, man.
Yeah.
There was Jungle Juice.
Yep.
Some
Some hot dogs. I think a couple boigas on the grill.
Gilboe.
Yep, Gilboe Baggins. And I feel like there's one that I'm really leaving out. Who the hell are you?
I don't know.
It was one of Sean Beard's friends. It was a band.
Ronald Reagan?
Yes, them.
Yeah.
Really liked them a lot too.
They were a lot of fun. Also, I have some memories that involve basketball.
Oh yeah. Some Cobb's Hill baskets. I miss playing basketball, and I need to get in shape, so I really hope you call me when it gets nice out.
This spring, we got to get that crew together again. Everybody who's still in town.
Yeah. Is James still around?
James is around, man.
Nice.
We watched the Super Bowl together.
Awesome. What did you think of the Super Bowl?
Dude, I mean, I was going for the Panthers.
Okay.
And it was frustrating, and Cam just didn't get any help, man.
No, they did not play Carolina Panthers football.
Yeah, and there's just I could go on a rant about how I feel like he is treated unfairly, Yeah,
I could agree with that.
Yeah.
I can definitely agree with that.
I don't think that's dude, I don't think a player should have to talk to the media.
No.
I think
Marshawn Lynch made that very clear.
Yeah, it just seems like, and people talk about sportsmanship, the media's not playing the game. Like,
right.
You don't owe anything to the media. Like,
right.
If anything, if you don't talk to them, they're just gonna make a big deal about it. It's just more for them to talk about.
And I mean, here's a guy who every time the Carolina Panthers score a touchdown, he's giving the ball to a little kid. It's not like he's a classless person.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of getting a raw deal from that whole media thing and just, the way he acted. It's the Super Bowl. That's, what you play all season long for, and when it doesn't go your way, you're going to get a little frustrated.
Yeah, and people use. I could just get on soapboxes, but
Yeah.
people use sportsmanship as just a way to suppress men's emotions. Like, that's like the biggest game of your life. Like,
Yeah.
you get a pass if you win. You can do whatever you want, but you're not allowed to be a little upset if you lose. Come on now.
Right.
But yeah, man, those basketball games.
Yeah, they got pretty intense.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't know, all of our musically inclined friends had so much basketball talent. I mean, they weren't Globetrotter level games, but they were at least, freshman year of high school level basketball games.
We were at least junior varsity.
Yeah.
Dude, I just remember feeling like I had, not to like brag about myself, but I'm playing with all of these like punk kids who have to like stop and take breaks for cigarettes.
That was me.
and so I just felt like I had so much more energy than everybody.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair.
Dude, and John Kiss, that guy is the Dennis Rodman of the Rochester punk scene. Can't make a shot, but he pulled down everything, man.
I've never seen somebody in the middle of July play basketball in a orange winter hat. So that was pretty cool to watch. But yeah, I mean he was great on the boards. He couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat, but man, he could grab the rebound.
Dude, this is the most sports talk that's been on, and I'm not going to cut this out. This is it's just a good time, especially like Joshua Strauss playing basketball with all of the members of Endangered Youth.
Yes.
All of the members of Envious Disguise. James Sanders, who is our large friend who has played semi-professional football. It's just a weird mix of people. In general, the Meat Grinder was always a weird mix of people.
People want to call America the melting pot. I think the Meat Grinder was the meat grindering melting pot of Rochester. We had a little bit of something for everybody there.
We tried to keep it diverse. I don't know if we ever had any hip hop artists play in the Grinder.
I mean, there had to be, or at least something close.
Oh man, I can't think of any. But
yeah, offhand, I can't think of any either. But
as far as everything, like from like emo and like real chill stuff to like the metal stuff, like Glendy's bands, and like there was a lot represented in our influences between me and Steve and John and Glendy.
For sure.
And it was a lot of fun.
What's up, man?
Eric Freight, come down here. Come down here and get on this podcast. Well, come right back. Take it upstairs and come back then. We're gonna talk.
We got some stuff to talk about, my friend.
I'm recording a podcast with Gilboe here.
I see that.
Yeah.
I see that.
How have you been, my friend?
I'm all right.
Good.
All right, chilling.
This is your first podcast appearance.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm on a podcast.
Yeah. We were talking about shows at the Grinder and
Yep.
What was your favorite show at the Grinder? We went over ours. What was yours?
Well, my favorite probably be the one where Phil Herford played. They were just when Phil Herford played, it was pretty cool because they did whatever he does, and I think we played. I can't remember. The last EY show was pretty epic too.
Yep, that was Adam's favorite.
Dude, remember Silverfish's set that night?
Oh man, yeah.
I'd never seen that many people moshing to a band as chill as that band.
Yeah. I think I saw them play here at your CD release show too.
Yeah.
And that was a great set too.
Also, Joel Dow fire breathing.
That was awesome. I literally was sitting on the floor, and when it ended, one, I was upset that it ended, and two, I literally had to ask myself, what the fuck just happened?
Well, I was asking myself, how the hell am I going to top a fire breather?
That was an awesome show.
You don't gotta top nothing with John Kiss around them. I mean, the great thing about that band, I think, was just giving him a bass, and then just John would just be John.
Letting him shake that ass.
Yeah, man.
His
goofy fuck that he was.
that now tattooed ass.
What did he get tattooed on his ass?
He's got a clown giving the finger.
Oh, nice.
You
I did
ever
not
hear
know that.
old
No.
story?
No.
I don't know if that's been on my podcast. It was on Dan's, but Dan Campbell tattooed a clown giving the finger on John's ass on his kitchen floor in Bloomsburg.
I did hear the story of this. This was a while ago.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember
This was after
now.
we had. I think this was after
You guys did like a weekender or something.
Yeah.
I remember
Weekender.
this now. The Weekender bag of chips, dude. Man, I miss those.
Dude, you. So, my listeners in Central Pennsylvania, you know what we're talking about. Middlesworth Chips sponsor this podcast. Send me some bags of barbecue chips because I love you.
Not just any bags, Weekender bags.
The big ones.
The big ones.
So, Envious Disguise went and played a show down there in Pennsylvania in Bloomsburg,
Yes, we
right?
did, yes.
That's Dan Campbell, who used to be
It
in
was-
Condition Oakland,
Yep.
booked the show. Who else played the show down there?
Dugout, this band Dugout, who broke up about a year ago. It was around the same time Envious split, but we became very good friends with them, which was cool. Ted Hazard played,
Okay.
so always fun to see him. This band they couldn't have been over 14, 15 played, but they were actually very good. They played this very cool cover of something that I don't remember what it was, but I remember really liking the cover that they chose to play. One thing that threw me off about that show was anybody that knows Envious Disguise knows that we loved to drink. Not only that we loved to drink, we loved to drink Jenny. Kept it local.
All this being though, Gilboe.
Oh, man. So, we found, I think, the one place in Bloomsburg that sold Jenny beer and bought like 330 racks of this Jenny. Now, we were only there for the night. We did like a weekender. It's not like we were on like this big elaborate tour. We came home with more beer than we knew what to do with. I mean, we figured out what to do with it, but... So we buy all this Jenny, and we're outside in the parking lot, and we're sitting in the van, and we're drinking, and we're hanging out. It was a gorgeous day. It was in October because it was right around Halloween. The cat costumes were out in full form.
Oh yeah,
It's a
Bloomsburg
college
University.
town. Yep. So it was prime time to be there. So like I said, gorgeous October day. We're outside. We're drinking, and the guy says, "Hey, you guys can't drink that out here." Oh, yeah, okay, no problem. Bring it inside. And, us being from Rochester, we're like, the hell's this guy talking about, bring it inside? Apparently, they have a thing called the BYOB license, which we have never heard of.
But was this at Phillips Emporium?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot that they're
Yeah.
BYOB.
So, we were completely flabbergasted that we could bring in booze that we bought into this bar, library,
It's a
venue.
weird place.
It was an awesome place.
Yeah.
But just the fact that we could bring in our own beer, one, for free, and two, that they just didn't even care. They wanted us to bring it in there instead of drink out in the parking lot,
Yeah.
was a very weird thing that we had never had happen before.
Nice. Yeah, that's my old stomping grounds, Bloomsburg.
Nice.
Where I was going when I started this was, I told you guys, I was like, all right, I'm gonna give you. I gave you a couple bucks to buy me a weekender bag of chips
No.
because I had brought these back, and I like to keep
For
them
me,
around.
multiple times.
Yeah. So I like to bring them back. We would hang out in the grinder basement, drink Jenny, eat the weekender bag of barbecue chips. And so I got all these guys hooked on them. And I gave these guys a couple bucks to bring some bags home. And what did they do?
Oh, no. We ate them.
All of them.
All of them. Every single bag of Weekender chips did not make it back to Rochester.
Dude, I remember asking you about it. You were like, dude, I'm so sorry. we got real drunk and ate them all.
I'm still sorry, man. That was not a bro move.
I can't even be mad, though, man. They're so good.
Oh, my God.
So do you have any other projects you're working on musically or creatively? Wow. Any other project you're working on musically or creatively other than this one upcoming Endangered Youth show? Anything in the works? Endangered
show? I wish it was an Endangered Youth show. You
know what I
guys
mean.
should make a comeback the same day. Get on the bill and
Well-
play something off the demo.
Those are probably the only songs that John remembers how to play, are the songs on the demo. But call up John, get him to come back.
Would everybody else do it if I convinced him to come back here?
I think the guy that made a special appearance on the podcast is the one guy that would be the difficult one to convince.
Man, but that'd be so cool.
Dude,
An EYED reunion? Dude, that'd be nuts. That'd be a crazy show.
Erectile dysfunction.
Yeah. Envious dick size.
But yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe someday.
Man, I hope so. I never really thought Envious was going to play a reunion. And here we are. So, you never know. Don't ever count it out.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll back it up a little bit. What spurred that on, the playing the show?
Originally, right after the house fire, this was before the Kickstarter or the GoFundMe came about. This we've got like a benefit dinner this weekend. It was before all this benefit stuff came out.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to Megan, and I said, it'd be really cool to play an Envious reunion show to raise a couple bucks for us and your sister and Kyle, so we can kind of get our life back in order and kind of have a hand doing so.
Yeah.
Tom called me not 2 hours later and was like, dude, let's do an Envious reunion show for your house. And Kyle was immediately on board. And then, we got all this support from people on the GoFundMe, people trying to donate us stuff. I could have like 7 different houses full of furniture, pots and pans. Yeah, I could literally live in a different house every day of the week, and it would be fully furnished, which is awesome. So before, everybody started doing all that stuff and the benefit dinner and everything, we were like, yeah, that'd be a cool idea to raise some money. But now that we, have all this support and pretty much have most of the stuff, I don't really think it's going to be so much of a benefit anymore, as now it's just we were already planning on doing it, so let's just do it and have a good time.
Cool. Yeah, I'm glad to see you guys are doing it. Obviously, because I like you guys, and it's good to see you guys doing stuff again. And
yeah, the people, there's a very, very select few people that do know. A couple people figured it out from the Facebook post, but it's cool to see people be excited about something that hasn't happened in either a year and a half or 2 years, a year. I don't even remember when we broke up, but it hasn't been around for a while. So it's cool to see people, still stoked about it, and people, have just been telling me recently, oh man, ever since I heard, I popped my Blood, Sweat, and Beer CD in, and super excited for the show. So it's been cool to see people kind of like remembering what went on, which is cool for me because that's all I ever wanted.
yeah. So Blood, Sweat, and Tears. That was Blood,
Beers.
Sweat, and Beers. Man, you would think I'd been drinking the amount of saying tears instead of beers and Endangered Youth instead of Envious Disguise. I promise you, I have not had anything but coffee tonight. But those are the 2 releases: Behind the Stash and Glasses and Blood, Sweat, and Beers.
Yes.
And those are those both on Bandcamp? Or
Behind the Stash and Glasses is on SoundCloud.
Okay.
And then Blood, Sweat, and Beers is on Bandcamp.
Okay. So
we were never very good at the whole social media thing. Our main platform was Facebook. And then pretty much if you wanted to listen to us, it was mainly by CDs. I feel like Bandcamp got a better response than SoundCloud did. Mm-hmm. So if you're trying to figure out which platform to use if you're in a band, I would definitely recommend Bandcamp over SoundCloud.
Cool. Now, I started saying this earlier, and then we got off track, which is totally fine. But do you have any other projects in the works other than just preparing for this upcoming show?
Yeah, it's pretty much just getting ready for this. I jam around. My fiance's stepdad has a classic rock cover band.
Okay.
So I go over and I jam around with them sometimes. Other than that, just kind of doing a whole lot of nothing. In the future there will be something because, I'm getting kind of sick of not playing. So that'll change.
I'm there with you.
Right. That'll probably change rather quickly. But I think it's going to be kind of weird to start a project from the ground up again. I did it once with Envious, and then when I joined the Results, they were already established, had their friends and fan base and, people that they worked with. And, when you start a brand new band, one of the things that I'm worried about that I've kind of seen happen in Rochester is, I will always be the bass player of Envious, Disguise, and the Results. I will never be the member of the band that I just tried to start. I will always be Envious or the Results. That's it. So I'm kind of worried about that because I really hope the new project I'm in is kind of cool. But if it sucks, then I hope I'm remembered for Envious.
Yeah, I think that's... it's such a small world. It's not like we're known outside of Rochester.
Right, right.
So it's weird to be worried about that. But, I understand it.
Now, did you feel that at all after Endangered Youth when you started your project? Did you kind of feel like what I was just talking about?
A little bit, because there's still people. People think of me as the guy from Endangered Youth.
Right. I still do that.
Yeah, and I think of you as Gilboe
right.
from Envious Disguise. But, it is weird because... Okay, I don't know if you saw, but they did remember that piece that was in Reporter magazine back in 2012 where that Evan Williams guy talked to me and John and Sean and Colin?
No, I don't remember
okay, well,
that.
They did a piece and kind of talked about the Meat Grinder, and it's RIT's magazine, Reporter.
Do you have one somewhere?
I do, yeah.
Oh, okay, I'll have to check that out.
I'll send you a link, and I'll put the link in the show notes.
Yeah, please do that, because I would like to see it.
We that happened, and then somebody decided later on to do a follow-up and talk to Colin, which was fine, but they only went to one and I love Colin, and I love
for sure.
Colin's
I do
new
too.
bands. I love the Borns, but they went to one show at the Brew House and talked to Colin and didn't really talk to anybody else.
Okay.
And they mentioned my name and was like, and even Adams Endangered Youth, which it wasn't my band, it was our band,
right? Yeah,
but it was like even Endangered Youth is disbanded and no one lives at the Meat Grinder anymore. Everything's changed, and I was like, you know what? I not to toot my own horn, but after that, I played with the Treasury for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I played in Rama for a little while.
Now, you started that, correct?
I didn't. We kind of started it at the same time.
Okay, so you were like an original member. It wasn't like your brainchild, but
it kind of rose up from other bands that had started, and then we've started writing new songs. But
okay.
So and all, not even just those things. You see the Facebook invites, dude. I've never stopped specifically caring about booking all age shows.
Right.
Not that there's anything wrong with shows in bars. I like to go to shows in bars. I like to have a beer. But I think, there's not a lot of people focused on doing all-age shows.
Absolutely.
And so, that's, my thing. And I've worked really hard and done a lot of stuff since then. And for somebody, my name was mentioned. I don't care. I don't want the attention. But if my name's going to be brought up, don't just bring it up and talk about things I did 3 years ago.
Right,
and leave out the fact that I've
done a lot.
I have been doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's kind of along the lines of what I was talking about, where I haven't really done too much post Envious except the Results. Mm-hmm. I love that people remember it and want to talk about it, and it's awesome, and I will always love that and always enjoy doing it. I just don't want that to be everything about me, because there's a lot more to me than my time in Envious. So
yeah,
I guess that's all I was alluding to with that little tidbit. But
yeah, and it is frustrating, especially when you do try and do something new, and there's all these expectations of what the old thing was like.
Yeah,
and I mean, I've heard people mostly on other podcasts because I listen to a stupid amount of podcasts.
Hey, that's cool, man.
Which is why I started one.
Right,
I love just listening to
I've
people
been
talk about
slowly
stuff.
getting into them. I really like sports talk radio, if you
Word.
couldn't tell.
Yeah.
But I just think it's cool that I get to listen to, like, my friends and stuff talk, and they have all the same similar qualities and features that I like on my sports radio shows, except I'm, like, in the know about what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So, like, I've been getting into the podcast pretty hard.
Cool.
And I just think it's so cool that there's so many people doing them for, local things like this.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about Rochester is anytime we had a release or a big show coming up, I felt like I was Nikki Sixx and Motley Crue. I mean, I was on the Buzz, I was in City Magazine, I'm on podcasts, I'm in the Insomniac magazine. Yeah. There was just so much stuff in this one little scene that makes everything just seem so much bigger. And I don't want to say bigger than it really is because there's a lot going on in Rochester, but just all the media outlets for what you're into has always blown my mind.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, what I was saying is, I hear people on podcasts, like people in like big bands. I know that like we're just talking about our like little like Rochester bands.
Yeah.
That we had the opportunity to play some shows outside of the area, and it was cool. Like I
mean, it was always fun playing out of town.
I
don't think I could live like that, like some people do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It's a hard way to make a living, man.
For sure, it's not easy. If an opportunity comes up for me to tour again, though, I definitely want to do it.
I think I would do it for a short time. I just don't want that to be like my life income and like how I live my entire life. But if it came up like where I'm at in my life now, and that was kind of what I was talking about with Envious, like I could probably tour for like 2 to 4 weeks right now, and that would be like a perfect amount of time. I can get some time off from work, go do something I really enjoy. But to tour the amount that you need to actually do something, it's
crazy,
not going to happen.
Yeah, but I mean, these guys that have done that, and that's like, I mean, that's been our identity here and a little bit elsewhere, but not to the extent of like these guys in these big bands, and then these big bands break up, and they're like, who am I even?
Right,
like, everything I do is wrapped up in this band I've been in. So
yeah,
it's
kind of like breaking up with like your girlfriend. You got to like start over. You got to find a new identity for yourself. You got to get back on your feet.
Yeah,
band breakups are pretty serious. I think they're kind of more serious than a lot of people give them credit for.
Were you guys always cool throughout the time you broke up?
No. Kyle and I had a bunch of bumps in the road in our relationship, and Dom and I actually got tighter after Envious broke up. Kyle and I have smoothed over most of our differences, which is cool because I like being friends with Kyle. He's been the longest friend that I've ever had. So being pissed at him sucked. I don't think he really cared for not being friends with me either. So I'm glad we hashed everything out and got everything taken care of, and now we're moving on from that. So, but yeah, after the Envious breakup, there were some pretty rough times between Kyle and I, not so much Dom, but yeah, it was pretty rough.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know like any details of that,
right?
But I had heard that like things were you guys weren't cool with each other, and so just knowing that and knowing like, okay, you're coming back together and doing this, like even just that aspect of it, man, like I'm excited for you guys that you're back doing this together, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I definitely liked, like I've probably said it like 4 different times, I liked my time with the Results, but being on stage without Kyle and Dom felt weird because that was the first band that I got on stage with, and we toured and we recorded and we did everything that a band could possibly do. I did it with those two, and to do it with other people, I'm not gonna say it didn't feel right because like I had a lot of fun doing it. It was just weird to like turn around at the drum kit and not see Dom flipping his sticks or standing on his seat or doing whatever the hell Dom does. I still can't figure it out. And then, just not bantering back and forth with Kyle on the mic was weird. So I'm definitely glad that this is coming together. So even if it is the last time we play, we can have closure on a better level, I feel, than we had the last time.
Yeah. What was the last show you played? Was it planned to be a last show? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I don't remember.
It was a Cadaver Dogs show.
Oh, yeah. I remember that now.
I was at the Brew House, and pretty much all the bands that were left that I feel should have played that show did play. It was Keaton, Results, Cadaver Dogs, and I believe one of Dusty's bands opened that show. So pretty much everybody that we needed to close with played, but, Kyle, Dom, and I were not in... It's not how I wanted the band to end, so I'm glad that we got one last shot at it.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up. Any any last words? Anything you want to say before we call it a night?
Yeah, I just want to thank you for having me on. I had a great time. It was awesome to talk about all the fun stuff that we used to do and all the cool stuff that used to go on. Other than that, just kind of looking forward to the Envious show and looking forward to your next release.
I don't know when that'll be, but
for
someday.
the podcast or for music, whatever.
This will be up on Monday.
just heard Like Brother by Envious Disguise. As Nick said, March 25th, they're going to be playing a reunion show at the California Brew House. As soon as I get more information, I will post it on the Facebook page. If you haven't liked the Facebook page, you should go ahead and do that. So I've been told is the name of the podcast, as I said at the beginning. And also like the Podcast of Pennsylvania Facebook page as well. There's a lot of cool stuff going on over there. I think that's all I've got for this week, but I will be back next week. My guest will be CJ Campbell. He is an author and speaker, a good friend of mine, so I look forward to sharing that conversation with all of you. All right, well, have a great week, everybody.